So, the story behind Take You Back. It's the first song that we ever completed as a group. I don't think it would have come to fruition if it wasn't because of the way we were working on songs at the time.
The songs we've been writing sound nothing like that.
We had been back and forth, jamming, riffing on a bunch of different ideas that Johnny had.
They're more of a, I guess you could say, traditional pop punk.
We were trying to finish those, piece them together, and so I picked up the guitar and I was actually working on a few of his things at the time. It was funny because I was doing that while I was watching The Simpsons, and there was a particular part where it's a wedding scene, and it's like the do you object to the marriage type of idea, and inside Homer's Homer's head, it's just that song Rock and Roll Part 2. So hey. I've always thought that part was funny, but it was kind of in my subconscious. It didn't really inspire me at the time. It was afterwards. I was actually watching Hockey Night in Canada. I heard that in the background and just liked the way that it felt. So, you know, that obviously being a drummer, like first I kind of just felt like
Craig sent us the song with that kind of
I sent it to the guys. We started working on it from there.
Swingy type beat, which was very different from what we were writing and recording.
I think I sent it with another demo too that I did shortly afterwards, and they were like, you know, what are these songs? Like, are these our songs? Like, Jeff was so confused. His response to the messages were hilarious, but I'd never really thrown myself out there like to a band like with an idea, and the fact that they liked it, I thought that was pretty cool. So
it was easy to learn because Craig had already written the whole song, so only a couple chord song. But what makes the song for me interesting is the different dynamics. It's a lot of repetition, but there's different dynamics in the song which really changes it up a little bit. It could be the same 2-3 chords, but there's parts where there's the octave on its own, things drop out, and you really could make the song great that way, playing with the dynamics as opposed to, all right, here's another part, here's another part, here's another part.
Yeah, we ran with it. The music's super like happy and catchy feeling, so I wanted to balance it with like something that was lyrically like maybe a little bit opposite of that. Came up with a melody like shortly after we kind of pieced how the song would go, and yeah, like I have always liked the phrase like it'll be a cold day in hell when ... So like it'll be a cold day in hell when I eat that meatloaf, or whatever the hell you want to say about it.
Craig had written the hook also after a few weeks. He had sent the hook, and we really liked it.
But this was before we even had Andy in the band. The guys were like, you know, I was demoing it and singing it, and I'm not a big fan of my voice or consider myself a singer by any stretch, but they're like, yo, this is fire. Yeah, but I was nervous. I was nervous because, you know, I didn't think it would be as good as it could be because we didn't have a singer. So I was like, if I'm stuck singing these songs, if I'm going to be the one singing these, I don't think I'm going to do it justice. Like, I just don't have the power. And then, you know, Andy joins the band and he says he digs, you know, the demos and what have you. And I didn't have any verses at the time. He threw down some verses, but we hadn't heard anything. We were kind of anxious. We were waiting for him to record it so we could hear, like, you know, just on a demo how he would sound. And holy cow, he blew me away. Like, he just nailed it. It was a home run. Like, John and I just kind of looked at each other when he was recording, and we were just like, wow, like, yes, this is the guy.
He was able to take that and run with it and bring it back in time to the 1950s and have that kind of nostalgia feel in the song, but also has that kind of modern pop punk combination.
When he threw down the verses, he took it in a complete different direction than I originally anticipated. I thought it'd be a little bit more introspective, but he paints like this crazy picture. He took it back in time to, like, you know, like the 50s or 60s.
Growing up with music from my parents from the 50s and 60s really stood out to me, and I can take that and apply it to music that I like now and kind of see how everything's tied together. It's all catchy music, whether it's Chuck Berry, Beatles, anything like that way back then, Buddy Holly, up until like the Newfound Glories, Blink. It's at the end of the day, it's catchy music.
It was the perfect time to come in and finish it the way that he did and how he did it. I mean, I think the song just speaks for itself. Super catchy. So many people can relate to it, or at least envision how, the person would be feeling in the time that he kind of sets.
Me as a guitar player, since the song was already written, what I wanted to do to incorporate my own touches was really want to choose the proper guitars and amp tones for the recording. So I took a Classic Vibe Squier Jazzmaster for that intro riff, because Jazzmaster is known for that really crisp, clean sound. But when I put something extremely distorted and really dirty on it, I really wanted it to sound nasty to lead off the song. And then it kind of gets into that upbeat, swingy beat. I just wanted that to really stand out. And that's why I picked a Jazzmaster for that one. The rest of the song is my Les Paul and Telecaster. The main octave riff is done on my Les Paul as well. Overall, the song was pretty well organized from Craig's writing, but going from the break with just the octave guitar on its own, getting back into the music part with everybody else joining, we had a hard time with it. So after listening, while we were jamming it out, while I was recording a demo version of it, I just said, all right, I'm going to follow the root notes on my guitar, Jeff followed that on bass, and done. Right, a do, 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 do. That's all we did. I just picked those notes and said, this is how it's gonna go in, it's done. This is how it is.
It's a banger. I love it. I think it's great. I mean, recording it and listening to it a million times, it's, to me, it got a little stale for a while, but now that everyone else hears it and they love it and I can appreciate it, step back and just appreciate it for what it is, man, like, it's a solid lead-off hit. It's a base hit. Maybe a home run? I don't know. You tell me.